Hello, let's continue our Sudoku adventure with Void Sums by Sanabas. So, this continues our XSum theme week, and this looks like a pure XSum, but there is an additional rule that you're definitely going to need to use, so definitely pay attention to that. Let's go over all the rules. So we have normal 6x6 Sudoku rules, so in each row, each column, and each 2x3 box, we are placing the digits 1 to 6 exactly once each. We also have void cells. These are cells that, no matter what digit is in there, count as 0. So in each row, each column, and each box, we are going to have exactly one void cell. So maybe this is the void, maybe this is a void cell, in which case the rest of its box, rest of its column, rest of its row. Think of it like you can't repeat digits. And so then we could say maybe have a void here, and these could all be non-void, etc. So we got to find all 6 of them. Now, each digit between 1 and 6 has fallen in exactly once. So if I put a 1 here, this can't also be a 1 because I need, there are going to be 6 void cells, and they're going to, the digits 1 to 6 will appear once each. So think of it like an extra region within the void cells. All right, and any digit in a void cell counts as 0, and that's important for our XSums. So let's go over how XSum normally works, and then we'll talk about the void. So let's talk about maybe, I don't know, this 14. So whatever digit goes here, say it was a 4, then what that tells us is we need to take 4 cells starting from the digit next to the clue is the count, and the count goes from that clue in the direction of its row or column. So these 4 cells then would be used in our XSum clue, and what we need to do is we need to sum all 4 of them, including the count cell. We sum all 4 of them, and that should sum to 14. So this could be, say, 2, 3, 5. And so we get 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5 is 14. That is 14. But something to keep in mind is that one of these might be a void cell. Let's say this was a void cell. Then this would count as 0, and we would no longer add to 14. We would add to 12. And so this would not be a way to fulfill the 14. We could maybe do like a 6 and a 4. Well, 6 and 4 doesn't work. I don't know if there's a way to make this work, but anyway, if there was some way to make these 3 add to 14 without using the 2, then that with this being a 4, so these would have to be 10 without using a 2. Yeah, I don't know if it's possible. Anyway, you get the idea. This void cell here made it 0, so it counts as 0. Now, if this was a void cell, no matter what's in here, it would count as 0, and this would be a 0 clue, so that's not going to work. All right, and that is it. Those are the rules. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try the puzzle yourself, and I'm going to get started right now. What immediately caught my eye when I loaded up this puzzle was this 20 clue. Because if you think about it, our maximum sum is no longer 21. Normally with an XSum, if you put a 6 here, you're guaranteed that it's going to be 21 because you're going to be including the entire column. And the column will have 1 to 6, and 1 to 6 adds to 21. However, one cell in this column is guaranteed to be a void cell, which is going to zero out one of our digits, meaning my maximum sum is actually 20. Where the 6, and first of all, I'm going to use green for not void and gray for void. We can't ever put a void cell next to an XSum because none of them are zeros. If we had a 0, then that would give us a void, but we did not get that. So we're going to put a 6 here, and then the void has to be on the 1 in this column. And then that'll fulfill the 20 just by itself. So one of these is a 1, and it's void. So we've used the 1 already. The 1 has to be in this column. So the void cells for the remaining columns cannot be the 1. 4 is interesting. So this cannot be a 1 because 1 would, say, use 1 cell. The 1's already in it. It would be a sum of 1. So if this was a 2, in fact, normally 4 isn't possible for an XSum. So that's another interesting one because normally, like if this was a 2, then we'd be using these 2 cells in our XSum, and this would have to be another 2. But because we have a void cell, I don't think the 2 works still. Because we can't, if we voided this one, it would sum it to 2, not 4. So I think this has to be a 3. If it was 4, I think that's still a problem because we'd be voiding one of them, so we'd actually be using 3 cells. But 3 cells still add to a minimum of 6, and we're including a 4 in there, so it's actually a minimum of 7. And so this has to be a 3. So we're going to use all 3 of these, and one of these 2 is a void, meaning these 2 cannot be. And we're going to be voiding the 2. So this is a 1-2 pair. And the 2 gets voided in this column. So this column voids the 1, this column voids the 2. I wish I had some clean way to keep track of that. but we'll just try to remember. Okay, so that was nice. This 2 also is not possible normally. I think the only way we're going to do that is to put a 2 here and then void this cell. Now, that does green out the rest of these handily, but this could be voiding anything. We could put anything here, and that would give us the sum of 2. All right, doing well. Now, this 5 is interesting now because it can't be a 2 here. Can't repeat the 2 in the row. So it has to be a 3, and then we're going to void... Oh, you know what? Sorry, this is not a 1-2 pair. Sorry, I almost made a mistake there. I don't think I used that at all. We know that the 1 is not voided, and then the other digit, whatever it is, does get voided. But it doesn't have to be the 2. It could be anything. Here we have to void the 1 because we know the entire column is used. And if we did a 5, that wouldn't work. Wait, does a 5? I really hope a 5 doesn't work because I just built everything off this. 6 with a voided 1 seemed like the obvious answer, but I do wonder if 5... So 5 does not... You know what's interesting is... Okay, so going back to here, sorry. 5 would work, but only by putting the 1 as the outie, I believe. And then voiding it. In a natural exsum without a void, 20 could be done with 5 by putting a 1 right here. And so then these would add to 20. Voiding within the sum can only make the sum smaller. So if it's max 20 without voids, adding a void cannot make it bigger, right? So it's still, it's max 19 then, or max 18 or something, if we void a cell. So maybe max 19. Anyway, either way, that would force this to be a 1, and it would be voided. And the issue with that is we can't put a 1 on a 2 clue. So this does end up being 6, but I forgot to take into account the 5. But I got lucky there. But now looking at it, we can see the logic. All right, anyway, yeah, sorry, this is the first time I've done this, so I'm working through it. But I think everything else is good. And we don't, I got rid of the 1-2 pair here as well. All right, so this has to be a 3, meaning all 3 of these are used in the sum. And then we're going to have to void whatever isn't the 2. So the 2's in one of these 2. And we're voiding the other thing. So that means these are not voided. Okay. Do we want to think about the 17 then, or maybe the 14? Because we know the void is right here. So obviously 1, 2, and 3 are gone. So we're at least 4. Now, can we do 14 and 4? So these would be 7. These would also add to 7. So these would be 1, 6. Now, is that okay? Yeah, we just have to void whatever goes here. So if this was 4, this would be a 1, 6 pair in order to get to 7. We can't do 2, 5. We can't do 3, 4, but we can do 1, 6. And this would be a 5. And it's okay to void a 5. We know we voided the 1 over here and the void in the 2 over here. So 5 is still open. Now the other option, so I'm just going to move this up just to remember what it was. This is not a 6. Let's do that first. Because if it was a 6, how would we get from 21 to 14? That would be another 7. And so we can't put a 7 in the void, right? So if this was a 5, we'd be using all of these. And it's almost the same thing because this is a 0. So we're actually just adding these together to get to 14. These add to 8. So these would add to 6. We can't do 1, 5. We can't do 2, 4. We can't do 3, 3. So that actually doesn't work. These can't add to 6. 5 plus 3 is 8. How would we add to 6? Not 1, 5, not 2, 4. Yeah. Okay, so this is what it is. It's 4 with a 1, 6 pair here. Oopsie. And a 5 here. All right. So 5 has now been voided. What else haven't we looked at? We got the 20. How about the 19? 19 is pretty big. We're not voiding a 1 or a 2. This can't be a 6 anyway. Can it be a 4? I think the answer is going to be no. But 4 cells, even without a void, we could do 4, 5. We could do 3, 4, 5, 6, which would be 18. 3, 4, 5, 6. The way I did that is actually it's 21 minus 3, which is 18. Because we're not using the 1, 2. So 18 is a bit too small. And voids can't make it bigger. So this is definitely a 5. And if we... Interesting. Okay, so if we voided this cell, then it would be a 2. So that these would add to 19. So that's a possibility, is this is a voided 2. Otherwise, I mean, is that the only option? The biggest 5 can be is 20, if this was a 1. Does that mean this is a 2 no matter what? Hold on. Wait. This is really hard for me to think about. I don't know what's going wrong in my head. So if I voided one of these cells, what's the biggest I could make this? Well, it would actually be the biggest 4 cells can be, which is 3, 4, 5. Wait. Yeah, which is 3, 4, 5, 6, which we said was 18. Yeah, that's the issue. Okay, so that's how we think about it. If we void one of the cells, it's like this count is 1 lower. But still, it would be 3, 4, 5, 6 maximum. And 3, 4, 5, 6 is 18. So we have to use all of these, and we have to void a 2 here, and that makes this the non-voided 1. All right, this is a void, just because it's the last for the row. And we know it's not 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 6, so it's a voided 4. It wasn't 1 because the 1's over here. In fact, this has to be the voided 1 now, because this is a 1 here. Okay, and so now this is a void, this is a void. Okay, we have all our voids. So this is 3 plus 2 to get to 5. Hopefully what I did made sense. we had to stick the 2 at the end here. If the void was somewhere in this 5 sum, our maximum sum would be 18. So the void had to be over here, meaning we're just using 5 digits straight up to add to 19, meaning the digit left out is the 2. Because 21 minus 2 is 19. All right, did I get all of my clues? 20 is good, 19 is good, 4 is good, 14 is good, 17 is good, 5 is good. Oh, and this is obviously a 6, not a 1 for a 17 clue. And yeah, 21 minus 4 is 17. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 4, 5. We need 3 and 6. This is the 6, this is the 3. There we go. Because the 3 told us that. That's a 2. I think we're just doing Sudoku at this point. This is 1, 3, 4. It's not 1, that's not 4. This pair, we need a 4, 5. Okay. These are 1, 2, 5. This can't be 1, 2. So that's 5. That's 4 and 5. This is just a 1, 2 pair. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the 2 there. That's 1, that's 2. This column finishes with a 4. The box finishes with a 6. These 2 are the 1, 3. That's a 1, 3 pair. So what's left here? 2 and 5. We know the order. 5 and 2. So this digit is a 3. That gives us 1, 3, 1, 4, 3. And we need 4 and 6 here. Very nice. Very well constructed puzzle. I really enjoyed that, Sanabas. I just had to wrap my head around how the void affected the exsums, and I kind of screwed up a little bit in the beginning and with my thinking, but I think I have a good grasp on how I could do it again if there were a second puzzle. Anyway, cool. Hopefully my exploration of that is helpful rather than just immediately picking up on how to do it. All right. Well, let me know how you did. If you enjoyed this, why not leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.